All right, welcome back, Aspenites. Let's do some more employment verifications. So this is going to be a new move-in. We're going to deal with year-to-date. We're going to deal with a shift differential, and we're also going to deal with a future increase in salary. Okay, so starting at the top, quick check for that fax strip. Moving right along, this is Work and Worm. He works at Stop and Shop. Let's see what our employer did here. All right, so it looks like he works as a checker and also as a shift manager. He is presently employed as of 2012, so we're good there. We don't have to contact the prior employer. He's been there for a couple of years. He's working now at a rate of $11.50 hourly, and he works 40 hours per week. His year-to-date earnings are $9,010 from the beginning of the year to today, which is 5/2/14. So this is something that we haven't seen so far on our employment verifications. Some states do require that you do a year-to-date comparison. This is one of those states, so our employment verification is going to include this year-to-date earning. If you haven't seen it, still pay attention, because you never know if you're going to be traveling or doing something in a state that does require you to calculate this year-to-date. You'll know how to do it. Okay, so also it looks like he does not receive any overtime. Our employer did put none on both of those, which is great. The shift differential rate is $14.50 per hour, and it looks like he gets $10 an hour at that rate. The commissions, tips, or bonuses is none. It looks like he is anticipating getting a pay rate of 2% effective 7/1/14. A lot of employers will do that. They'll offer their cost of living increases mid-year, so that's perfectly normal. Does the employee participate in a 401k retirement account? This employer is saying yes, he does. And can he access the account? Yes, he can. So in this case, we just want to double check here really quick the application and the SUP app, and just make sure that he did declare that 401k retirement account and deal with that asset accordingly. For this exercise, we're just going to be dealing with the employment, but just so you know, if your sheet lists that, then go ahead and make sure that's going to line up with everything else you have in the file. Is the work seasonal or sporadic? No, it's not. Now, you actually had a chance. We've worked with a lot of clarifications on the last couple of exercises here with these employment verifications. What you did here, and this is another tool that you can kind of have in your back pocket, is because Work and Worm was in your office and you were talking to him, and he kind of gave you the heads up that he does have a rate of two different rates. When you were kind of going through the income with him, he said he did make a certain amount as a checker and a certain amount as a shift manager. So what you did is you had him get on the phone with his employer, Lucy, and you actually talked to her yourself and just explained that if she could please put in the additional remarks the breakdown of how many hours he is a checker and how many hours he's the manager. Even though she did put 40 here and 10 here, that could be misconstrued that he gets 50 hours per week. So we just wanted to make sure that she gave us this breakdown. So that's another way to handle clarifications or problems that you might be able to foresee when you are sitting down with your applicant. Okay, so great job there. You talked to Lucy, you asked her, to put none and no NAs and things like that. So we do not have to clarify anything at all on this beautiful employment verification. All right, so the things that we do have to do, we do need to do a calculation to figure out how much he makes weekly for 30 hours at $11.50 and 10 hours at $14.50. So you can do your own calculation tape if you want to do that. That's perfectly fine. One site does not offer a shift differential in their calculator, so we do either have to do a tape, or you can open up this calculator that we have available to you, same as the seasonal calculation, but you can use it for the shift differential. So if you open this up, we did put the 30, $11.50, That gives him $345 at that particular position. He also picks up the 10 at the $1,450, bringing that to $145. Those together, $490, which annualizes at $25,480. I like using this. It just is a really nice thing to include in your package to compliance because you cannot mess up on the math. It does it for you. So completely up to you. So the annual salary is going to be the $25,480. So that's the first thing that we have to do. The second thing is we have to deal with this year to date. So one site does have a year to date calculator for us, but we do need to know the amount of weeks that includes this $9,010. So it looks like he worked all the way from the beginning of the year, January, through May 2nd. So we're going to open back up our payroll calendar. And this is going to be even easier than what we did last time because we don't have to count from mid-year to another spot in the mid-year. He worked from the beginning all the way to May 2nd. So we're going to find May 2nd, circle it. We know that if it's Wednesday or later, we're going to go to the right-hand side and use week 18. Simple as that. It's week 18. That's all you need to know. There's no math included in this one. So let's take a look and see if there's anything else that we're going to need to know. He is getting an increase on 7/1/14. One site will do that math for us. So that's great. So we have the numbers that we need to put into one site. All right, so I'm going to go to one site. I'm going to go directly to Work and Worm, and I'm going to hit New. The date here is going to be the date that you're working on. So whatever date it is happens to be that particular day on move-ins. If it is a recert, it needs to be the recert date. So just always remember those two things, and I'm going to be saying it over and over and over again. But whatever date you're currently working on, that is when you want to have this income begin if it is a new move-in. Right, Stop and Shop. And this is a non-federal wage. All right, so we're going to use our income calculator, even though we did figure out our annual salary. All right, so first we're going to start, this is what this calculator looks like. So it looks a lot different than the other one that you're used to seeing in these examples, in the fact that, let's see, whoops, wrong way, I need to go a little bit smaller. In the fact that it has a year-to-date comparison here. So we're used to just kind of looking at this bottom half, but here they're going to take the larger of the year-to-date or the annual salary. So we had $9,010, and we had that in 18 weeks. So we're going to go back here and enter 18 weeks. All right, so that's going to annualize at $26,028.89. But we do have one more step here on this year to date because there is going to be an increase. So because Work and Worm is moving in on 5/25 of 2014, and his increase is not until 7/1/2014, we need to make sure to put this in here because there's going to be some days where he's making less, and then as soon as 7/1 hits, he'll be making more. So we're just going to put the 2%. That's exactly what our employer said. The date of increase is going to be 7/1/14. Great, so that's going to tack on the $433.81 and bring the total here to $26,462.70. All right, so there weren't tips or bonuses or commissions, so we don't need to worry about that. We did come up with an annual salary here. Because of our shift differential, we're going to include that separate tape, and it was $25,480. And that was from our Excel spreadsheet or your tape, whichever one you preferred to do. All right, so we do have, again, we have to incorporate this income increase because it's going to be taking this comparison and it's going to take the larger of the two. So we have, again, our 2% increase on 7/1/14. Great, so that's going to tack on 424.67. So that is going to bring this total to 25,904.67. All right, so this is what you're going to want to print out. And one site will take the larger of the two. So in this case, it is going to take this year-to-date amount. Often that happens. It's so close that it could just be the days that the employer, whenever the employer pulled that $9,010, it could have included maybe an extra day or an extra 2 days. It's never perfectly exact. This is close enough. It's going to take that larger number. All right, so as you can see, it took the larger number and built that right into what will feed into your tick. And that is it. So it seems complicated and it seems like a lot of steps, but really it was very, very fast. So I will hurry and just reiterate what I did here. So we took a look at the employment verification. We realized that there were two rates. So we went to our Excel spreadsheet and we calced our two rates at the different hours that they have, bringing us to our annual salary. That's before the 2% increase, which is perfectly fine because one site helped us out with the rest. Then we took our year-to-date earnings through 5/2/14. We figured out that he had earned that much money in 18 weeks. And we realized that there was a 2% increase that was going to be effective on 7/1/14, which is after our move-in date. So we needed to put that into our one-site calculation. So we went to one site, we added our year-to-date, our 18 weeks, annualized that at $26,289. Then we did include our increase here at 2% with a 7/1/14, tacking on 433, bringing 26,462 as our year-to-date total. Then we carried our salary from the Excel spreadsheet of $25,480. Yes, there was going to be an increase here at 2% as well, 7/1/14. Bringing our total here to 25,904.67. One site, new to take the larger of the two, and that will feed onto our tick, and that's Working Worms income for the year. All right, so I think we're going to move on to something a little bit harder, and I'll see you soon.